A little while ago, I made a video talking about what Deathslinger is good at, and now I'm making its evil twin. What is Deathslinger bad at? The easiest one to start with is his limited range and mobility. Yes, even though the Deathslinger can hit you from some distance away, 18 meters to be exact, this is technically the second shortest range of the ranged killer group, second only to Springtrap. At 110% movement speed, he is absolutely reliant on landing his spear and perks to some extent, but unlike his contemporaries in the 110% movement speed category, he has no other method of making distance. The hag can teleport, the spirit can phase, the good guy has his dash, and the huntress hatchets have infinite range and instantly deal a damage state upon impact. Slinger, with no add-ons or mechanics in his base kit to help him expedite his injury process, is unequivocally the slowest killer in the game. It also doesn't help that he has a 32-meter tear radius, meaning that survivors have a little over 4 seconds between when they first hear the tear radius and when they're actually in range of the Deathslinger, which encourages people to preemptively run like no other killer in this game. If you have hated Sprint Burst before with other killers, you'll hate it even more with this one. Number 2. Deathslinger's power is high risk for medium reward. Yes, he is extremely potent in the 1v1 and is capable of landing shots through impossible gaps in the map, but landing some of these shots yields only an injury at most. Additionally, landing a long-range shot still takes the Slinger around 6 seconds to properly follow up on, and several more seconds before he can turn that hit into a down. And that's even if the person who is playing him accurately. If not, you'll take 0.4 seconds to aim and fire, 0.45 seconds for the missed projectile to travel its maximum distance, 0.71 seconds for the spear to retract, 1.5 seconds before you can take any action including initiating a reload, and then 2.6 seconds to actually reload. All in all, every missed shot without add-ons forces Deathslinger to do literally nothing for 5.66 seconds. Multiply that number by 8 for maybe 8 missed shots in a game, and that is 45.28 seconds of Mr. Caleb Quinn doing literally nothing. That's half a generator, passively wasted by this killer's demand for precision and cruel punishment for inaccuracy. Number 3. His add-ons and add-on dependency. Deathslinger has 4 good add-ons, with 3 other add-ons merely being weaker versions of some of the top recommended ones. As I've gone higher in a MAR rating, I have found myself leaning on the iridescent coin more often, while Warden's Keys almost never leaves my loadout. Partly because they make up for weaknesses in his kit, but also because the other options simply aren't good or appealing. This makes him rather over-reliant on his only decent add-ons, while the rest of them tend to fall by the wayside. Also, the add-ons Bayshore's Gold Tooth and Snake Oil have an inaccurate description. They say that they increase reeling speed, which would make you think that the survivor reels to you faster. This doesn't happen, as the survivor will reel towards you at the exact same speed no matter what add-ons you have equipped. What these add-ons actually do is increase the speed at which Deathslinger strafes while reeling, which consequently applies to the survivor as well, allowing them more control while they're on the chain, which allows them to get caught on obstacles more easily. So in short, do not run these add-ons, they are detrimental. Number 4. A lot of the maps aren't great for Deathslinger. Slinger suffers from most of the same woes that any ranged killer would, and that is that indoor maps are his bane. This killer's greatest power comes from gaining information from a moderate distance and being able to act upon it, turning most loops into unsafe ones. Indoor maps take that strength away by putting several impenetrable walls in between him and the survivors, and on top of that, Deathslinger usually punishes people burning a hole in their W key eventually by getting long-range shots, something that isn't possible on indoor maps, whereupon the survivors are encouraged to run to a corner even more. Every day, I pray that the Stranger Things license is revoked so that I never have to play another game on Hawkins. The game is cool though. There's some fun stuff we can do here. His problems don't stop there though. He's of course difficult to play on egregiously survivor-sided maps like Bad and Preschool or Garden of Joy, and tends to fall behind on maps that are spread out like Groaning Storehouse or Nostromo Wreckage. This generally ties back to the first point of how Deathslinger has no mobility, but the main way that Deathslinger wins on these maps is if the person playing him is playing him close to perfectly, or if the survivors mess up horrifically. 1 or 2 missed shots on Dead Dog Saloon, I'm chillin'. The map's small, there are cool gap shots everywhere, and with just a few slight adjustments, I'll still be ready to go. Miss 2 shots on the Eyrie of Crows, and I will be seeing the exit gates fly open before I even see the backside of Maine. And finally, number 5, the Deathslinger does not receive meaningful bug fixes and has been getting progressively more inconsistent to play over the last year. I know that I made a video on this already, but it hasn't gotten better, and in fact, as of October, it's gotten slightly worse. It started with the removal of the shot under the Snowcat on Ormond around 8.3.0, got worse with the hit reg bug around Konicki's release, and became pretty much inexcusable with the chain break bug in October. He has received 9 direct bug fix lines in patch notes this year. There were a couple others in here, like how the Deathslinger could not spear people when they were in the Last Stand animation, but the Last Stand bug actually gave survivors invincibility while they were vaulting, so it's not a Deathslinger specific bug. 2 of the lines that were applied to Deathslinger directly were 2v8 specific, 2 of them were audio bugs, and 1 was the reload animation not playing properly from his perspective. The remaining 4 were split between the aiming animation bug, which still hasn't been fixed despite its inclusion in 3 separate patch notes now, and the recent chain breaking bug. He also still has a chance to have his shots bounce off of a survivor, like this clip that I got recently. You hear that? That's the audio of my spear making an impact noise, meaning that I should have hit Hattie here. Most Deathslinger players that I know have simply given up hope on this bug because despite us reporting it multiple times, there's been little indication that the team is making an effort to address it. We've even been submitting the logs as they asked us to on Reddit all those months ago, and there's just kind of been radio silence, unfortunately. The chain break bug has been happening since the October bug fix patch. When Deathslinger normally pulls his chain through an obstacle, the chain glows red hot and breaks faster. However, if there is an obstacle to the left of the chain, it won't glow, but it'll break as if it were colliding anyway. This bug has cost me several long-range hits, some of which were game-changing hits that I needed to get. This also gives survivors a unexpected counterplay to Deathslinger, which is that you always want to pull to your right because it's more likely that the chain break bug will happen and cost him that long-range shot. Chain manipulation is also a fundamental skill for Deathslinger players. Learning how to move your camera while a survivor is speared to help the chain avoid collision is crucial to getting some last-second hits that you wouldn't be able to otherwise. That skill is actively being undermined by this bug and its lack of clarity. But these bugs aren't game-breaking enough, so Deathslinger won't get kill switched. The invisible walls that have randomly popped up have severely messed with his killers consistently and skill stealing, but honestly, I don't really get the feeling that anybody cares. These are hitboxes that affect this one killer out of 41, although technically, yes, Trickster can hit through some of the same things, and some killers that have stalking effects are affected by these hitboxes being here. And Deathslinger's not even one of the more popular ones. I mean, sure, I enjoy him, and I am known for being the Deathslinger player, apparently, perhaps helping launch some of his popularity, but I am a minnow in this ocean of pure popularity statistics. I will be working on a separate video that will show you all of the worst examples of these hitboxes, but ultimately it sucks to know that Deathslinger's biggest opposition to his skill expression is the development surrounding him, and losing the popularity contest, which just never really feels good either. Recently though, DBD has opened a page and a section in their Discord server that allows people to report bugs, and this is where I need your help to save the Deathslinger. It's a long shot. But if you do encounter one of these common bugs, I want your help following the listed guidelines to report them through the proper channels. And look, I know we're all tired at the end of the year. We have no hope of this actually really doing a whole lot, but there is an outside chance that it'll make something happen. If not, well, in a few months' time, it might make for an interesting video here, at least. I always like to hold an optimistic perspective and say that I am hopeful that things will change for the better. I am hopeful that these weaknesses that Deathslinger faces presently, and especially the last one, will be less severe in the new year. Is it realistic? Probably not. But you'll burn yourself alive if you continue letting that negativity smolder. So here's a toast to better things and whatever 2026 may hold. Thanks for watching, safe travels, and goodbye. Also, I'm still not in the creator program. Behavior wasn't something I said?